In this video, we'll be going through the Grade 2 sample paper for music theory from Trinity. Alright, so section 1 is worth 10 marks and it is basically multiple choice questions. Let's start off with question 1.1. So you're asked to name this note here. So if you look at this note has an accidental in front of it, and this sign here, okay, is a natural sign, okay? So because we know that there is a natural sign here, so therefore A flat is out. We can eliminate this choice. So it's either A natural or C natural, and this note here is A. So the answer is A natural, okay, because C is here, middle C is here when you have a treble clef. Next, let's move on. Which is the correct time signature? If you look at this, these are basically 3 quaver beats, right? 3 quaver beats. So if you have 3 quaver beats, you cannot make it into crotchet beats because it is 1.5 crotchet beats. So it tells us that the time signature, or we should count the beats in terms of quavers or 8th notes. So the bottom number should be 8. And because there are 3 quaver beats in the bar, the time signature is 3/8. Okay. Next, how many quaver beat does this note last? So well, let's take a look at this note here. It is a dotted crotchet. So a dotted crotchet is basically a crotchet plus a quaver, right? And a crotchet is equals to 2 quavers. So therefore, a dotted crotchet, which is equals to 1 crotchet plus 1 quaver, is equals to 3 quavers. So this is the answer, 3 quavers. Next, we are asked to add the total number of crotchet beats of silence in these rests. So we are going to count this rest, right? So this is the rest, this is the rest, these are the rests. Okay, so let's start off with this. So this is 3/4 time. So this is a crotchet rest, so it's 1 crotchet. This is a 3/4 time. So this is a full bar rest. It doesn't matter how many beats there are. We'll always write this as a full bar rest. Okay, but to see how many beats of silence, we'll take a look at the time signature. 3/4 time, there are 3 crotchet beats in a bar. So this is equal to 3 crotchet beats of silence. Okay. Next, I have 2 quaver rest here. So 2 quaver rest is equals to 1 crotchet rest. So adding up will be 1 plus 3 plus 1, which is 5. So therefore, the total number of crotchet beats of silence in rest in this piece here is 5. Okay. Next, we are asked the relative major of A minor. So A minor does not have any sharp or flat, right? A minor has no sharp or no flat. Okay, so the relative major would be C major. Moving on to 1.6, which metronome mark shows the fastest beat per minute? Okay, so they are all in terms of quaver. So the metronome beats, right? What this means is, like, for example, it means that there are 120 quavers in a minute. The more the number of beats, okay, per minute, the fastest it is. So we will choose the one with the biggest number. So it is this one, 120 quavers in a minute. So this one is the fastest. Okay, the slowest will be the one with the least number of beats, or in this case, quaver beats per minute. All right, next, let's take a look at the scale. So this is a scale and it is going down, right? It's going down, and we know everything says that it's going down, so nothing we can eliminate first. Next, let's look at this. It starts with E, it ends with E, so it must be E. Okay, it cannot be A, so you can eliminate this already. So now, we have E natural minor versus E harmonic minor. So what is E minor? So E minor has a key signature of F sharp, right? E minor, the key signature is F sharp. Okay, so if it is natural minor, then you just need to play F sharp, right? But if you look here, there are 2 sharps. One of it here, the other one is here. Okay, so now let's take a look at this. Is part of the key signature, right? Then for a harmonic minor, we need to sharpen the 7th note. So the 7th note, let's count 7 from E. So E is 1, F is 2, G is 3rd, A is 4th, B is 5th, C is 6th, and D is the 7th note, right? Okay, and we are going to sharpen it. So in other words, E minor, the harmonic minor, you will play both F sharp as well as D sharp, because the 7th note is D. You need to sharpen the 7th note. Okay, so from here, we know that it is an E harmonic minor scale going down, because firstly, for all E minor, you need F sharp, because that is the key signature of E minor. Then if you are going to play the harmonic minor, then you need to sharpen the 7th note. The 7th note is from E is D. So we need to sharpen D, which gives us D sharp. Okay, so because there is both F sharp and D sharp, it is the harmonic minor. Okay, now let's move on to this. So which chord symbol fits above this tonic triad? So this is a tonic triad. So very easy. If you want to see what is a tonic triad, first read this note here. This note here is G, right? So it must be a G. It belongs to a G major. So this is a G major tonic triad. And G major tonic triad is just G, B, D, which is this. Okay? Moving on, let's go to this, name this interval. So if you look at this, D to F, so D, this is 1, then this is 2, then this is 3. So from D to F is a third. So it's either minor or major third, right? So what can we do? So well, we know that in D major, so the lower note is D. So in D major, we know that based on the key signature, that is both F sharp and C sharp, right? Okay, but is there any, so this F here, if it's a major third, it should be F sharp. But is there a sharp here? No, there isn't. So therefore, it is a minor third. Okay, because let's draw out the piano. So from D to F sharp, it is a major third, right? But now, instead of going to F sharp, we are going to what I've put a dot here, which is F here. So it is now nearer. Okay, the interval is now 1 semitone nearer than a major third. So it is a minor third. So this is one way of doing, finding the interval by making use of a reference, the major key. Another way of looking at the interval is you need to memorize the interval chart. So if you have a third, okay, if you have 4 semitones, it's called a major third. Okay, if it is 3 semitone, it's a minor. Okay, so this one I've covered it in the grade 2 interval course for the Trinity Music Theory. So if you are interested, do check out. So coming back to here, so for your minor, it will be 3 semitone apart. So let's look at this again. So remember, there are 2 ways to find interval. One of it is using the major key as a reference. The other one is by counting the number of semitones. So I have done this one using D major as a reference. Next, let's look at the second method, which is counting the number of semitones, all right? So let's do it. So let's first draw out the piano. Okay, so this is D and this is F, right? So now let's count the number of semitones. So the semitones, 1 semitone is basically the distance between the 2 nearest notes. Doesn't matter whether it's white or black. So from this D here, the next nearest note is here. So there's 1 semitone, 2 semitone, 3 semitones. So there's 3 semitones. So when your interval is a third and there are 3 semitones apart, it is a minor third. So the answer is minor third, right? Okay, let's move on to this. Okay, So if you have a tonic triad in root position, they must be stacked on top of each other, right? But this one apparently it is not stacked on top of each other. They are not a third apart from each other. So therefore it was definitely not root position. Okay. Now let's take a look at what notes there are here. This note is A, then this note here is C, this is F, C. So if you rearrange it, it is F, A, C. Okay, and so it is basically a F major tonic triad, and because it starts on A, so it is the first inversion. So it's F major, first inversion. Okay, so first inversion, it will start from A as the lowest note. Second inversion, it will start off with C as the lowest note. And then root position, you start off with F as the lowest note. And you have this stack on top of each other pattern. Okay, but we don't have. So therefore, it is not root position. It is the first inversion. All right. Okay, now let's move on to section 2. So in section 2, you are asked to write a 1 octave D harmonic minor scale in minimums. Going up, use the correct key signature. So there are quite a number of things that we need to do to get full marks for this. So 1 octave, always 1 octave, so don't worry. So next, we know that is D harmonic minor. Okay, so we have D harmonic minor. So remember, because it's harmonic, we need to sharpen the 7th note in D minor. Next, I need minimums. I need it to be going up. And they asked me to use the key signature. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 things I need to do. All right. Okay, so I'm going up. So I'll start off with this D. And I'll end off with this D here. All right. Okay. So because they say minimums, right? So I need to put in minimum. Then let me first end off by writing a double bar line. Okay, so next I know that I need to go up. So I already start with D, and with D I know that I need to go upwards. Okay, so this one is sort of done. So let me just put a tick above number 3. Next, I need to use key signature. So D minor, it has a key signature of B flat. So let me put it in because it's treble clef. So this is the key signature of B flat. Okay, next I'm going to write out all the notes. It's a bit hard for me to write neatly on a tablet. So, but if you are, please, when you're doing your exams, right? If you're doing the paper-based exam, okay, do use your ruler and your pencil. Okay, and write neatly. Now that I've reached here, the next thing I need to remember, so I've done my key signature, I've written all the notes in minimums, it is going up. Next, I need to remember that because I'm dealing with a harmonic minor, I need to sharpen the 7th note, which is here. So the C needs to be sharpened. I need to put a sharp here. Okay, so there you go. For this is the D harmonic minor. So I've put in the sharpened 7th note, C sharp here. Okay, in minimums, all of them are minimums here. Okay, going up, so it's ascending. And then the correct key signature, I've included my key signature. Okay, next, let's go on to 2.2. Using crotchets, write an octave. So 1 octave arpeggios of A minor going up, then down. So I need to go up, then down. Okay, and all of them needs to be crotchet. So crotchet, arpeggios, okay, of A minor, up, and then down. Okay, so now let's use crotchet. So I need to go up. So you start off with this A here. So it'll be A, C, E, E, A. So now I've gone 1 octave up, A, C, E, A. Then go down again, E, C, C, A. All right. Okay, so now let's check. Are they all crotchets? Yes, they are all crotchets. One octave are A minor arpeggio. So A minor tonic triad is A, C, E. No sharp, no flat. Okay, so it will go A, C, E, A. That is going up. Then E, C, A. So there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes. So A, C, E, A, E, C, A. Okay, great. Now let's move on to section 3. You're asked to circle 5 different mistakes in the music, then write them out correctly. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So we'll start off by looking at this. The treble clef looks correct. So usually what I'll do is I'll do from left to right, top to bottom. Okay, so treble clef is correct. Next, let's check the key signature. This is wrong because the first sharp is F sharp. F sharp should be here. So it's like it's in the line. So this is wrong. So later on, I'll do this. Okay, so next, Andante should be written on top. Okay, we write the dynamics like your P, your MF here below the notes. But the Andante and so on, the music direction should be written on top. Okay, so this is wrong. So it's the second mistake. Okay, then the third mistake, because it's 3/8 time. Okay, if you should group all these quavers together. So this is another mistake, third mistake. Okay, then next. No more mistakes. Let's take a look at this. This is B. This is B. So if all of them are B, okay, we will not use tie. Okay, we will just use a dotted crotchet. Okay, we don't use tie for if all 3 of them are quavers. Okay, so let me circle this. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I still have one more mistake. Okay, then here 1, 2, 3, correct. 4. This is wrong because unless it's a full bar rest, if not, we will, for 3/8 time, we'll be grouping them beat by beat. Okay, so this is the first. So 3/8 time is 3 quaver beats in a bar. So this is the first quaver beat. The second quaver beat is this. The third quaver beat is this. So we should group them separately. Okay, so now that we have found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different mistakes, the next thing is to copy and then write it out correctly and neatly. So if you're using the paper-based exam, please write neatly, okay? Okay, maybe let me blow this up a bit so that it's easier to write. Okay, great. Okay, so now let me put the F sharp here. So this is the first mistake. This is F sharp. Right, 3/8. Okay, then next Andante should be on top. Then these 3 notes should be grouped together. Okay, use a ruler, please, okay? Then now this one should be a dotted crotchet. Okay. Then copy this bar line again. Okay, so this is what you should do for section 3. Spot the 3 mistakes. Okay, so these mistakes can be in terms of the directions where they should be placed, the grouping of the notes, the key signatures, and so on. Okay, so now that we have done that, let's move on to the next section. So here is a section of a tune. Make a sequence by repeating it twice, beginning 1 note higher each time. So you just need to make it 1 note higher each time, and you need to repeat it twice, right? Okay, so let's do it. So because I need to write it twice, I need to write 2 more bars. So let me first put in the bar lines as a guide so that I know how it should be written. So now that I've done this, the next thing is this is C. So each time it begins one note higher. So one note higher than C is D. Okay, this is C, D, E, D, C. So it's C, then it goes up to the next note, right? C, then D. So this is D, then it goes to E. Then it goes up another note, right? From D to E. So here also go up one note. Then it goes down one note. So again, go down one note. This is C here. So go down go up one note. It should be D. So it's C, D, E, D, C, D, E, F, E, D. Then next will be E, F, G, F, E. So now let's go up. So from C to D, from D to E. Then now C to D, right? E will go to F, go up one step. Then go up again. Then now it's coming down. Then go back to the original note. So just do it this way. All right, done. Okay, now let's go on to section 5. You're asked to transpose the tune down an octave to make it suitable for an auto voice to sing. So basically, you need to transpose it down an octave. Okay, so what I usually do is put the C here and the C here and the C here. Okay, so that I know where this note is. Okay, so this is my C4, this is my C5, this is my C6. So, okay, if I take a look, all the notes inside here are between C4 to C6. Okay, so let's first copy this. So when you're transposing an octave, it does nothing to the key signature. So don't need to do anything to the key signature. Okay, now that we have done with this, let's do this. So I need to transpose it an octave lower, right? Make it a one octave lower. So now this note here, F, is in between C5 and C6. So to make it lower, I'll make it between C4 and C3. So the F that is between C4 and C5 is here, this F here. Okay, next, this is a C note and it is a C5. So I'll transpose it an octave lower, so it becomes C4, which is your middle C. And then I just go one note higher. Or you look at it as this D is in between C5 and C6. Now I'm going to put a D that's in between C4 and C5, which is this D. Okay, now going to the next bar here, this C is the C5, right? So make it an octave lower, it becomes the C4. Okay, then I need this B, so it goes down, right? Okay, so this one is between C4 and C5, so I need to make it lower, so it's between C3 to C4. Or you can look at it as this is the C, you're going down one step. So this B here is one step from this C. Next, this A here is between C4 and C5. So I need an A that is in between C3 and C4, which is this A here. Or you can also look at that once I fix this, this is the C5. So I need to transpose it. I need to transpose it an octave lower, so it becomes C4. Then now this note is one note lower than it, so it's C, B, this, so go down. Then this is another note lower, so I go down again to this A here. Okay, then now this, I need to go down another step. So from this A, I go to this G here. Okay, then next again, the C4, C, so I go back to this C here. So C4, this is C5, right? So I need to transpose one octave lower, it becomes the C4C, which is the middle C. Then next go up to D, then go up to E. And finally to this F here, which is another note higher than the E. Okay, so that's the transposition of the tune down an octave. All right. Okay, next you are asked to write a tune using the first 5 degrees of the scale in E minor in any register. First 5 degrees of the scale of E minor. So you are basically going to use, so let's first look at E minor. E minor has F sharp, right? Okay, but you are only going to use the first 5 degrees, so you are going to use E, F sharp, G, A, B. So only these 5 notes, right? Okay, so and you can use any of them in any register, use a key signature and finish on the tonic. Okay, so in other notes we know that this last note should be an E because we need to finish on the tonic. So first let's put in the key signature, F sharp, followed by write the time signature 2/2 time. Okay, and typically we will start a song with the note itself, the tonic itself. Okay, and also we'll end with the tonic. Okay, so I know the last note here is definitely E. You can start here, you can end here, that's or this E, it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's do it. So I'll start off with E also. Okay, maybe most music just goes in steps. You don't have big jumps. Okay, you rarely have the whole music having a big jump. It doesn't sound good. Okay, so let's go back a bit step. Da, 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 da. So this is like the E, G, B chord. Okay, so next. Da, 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 da. Okay, so basically this is this. Da, 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 da. Okay. So this is my song that I've composed. So it follows all that is needed. So the first 5 degrees of the scale in E minor, E, F sharp, G, A, B, I have all of them. Okay, then next I use the key signature, so I put in the F sharp. Okay, then I need to finish on the tonic, and typically we start a song with the tonic and ends with the tonic. Now let's move on to section 7. So section 7 is essentially music in context type of questions. You're given a short extract of music and asked questions related to what you have learned, like rhythm, pitch, and so on. So let's look at this. So in the first question, you're asked, in which key is this piece? So let's take a look at the key signature. There isn't any key signature here. Next, let's take a look at the accidentals, and we notice that there are 2 sharps here and they are all G sharp. Okay, so now that we know that we have both no key signature, so if there's no key signature, it could be both C. So if you look at the key signature here, there's nothing here, right? So it is either going to be your C, it's either going to be C major or A minor. Okay, and then if you look at here, there is a G sharp here. So G sharp. Okay, and we know that the 7th note of A is G, right? And for A harmonic minor, we'll sharpen the 7th note, so we'll have G sharp. Okay, so this piece will be in A minor because number 1, it does not have anything here, no sharp, no flat as its key signature, so it's either C or C major or A minor. Next, we check the accidentals. There's the accidental G sharp, which is the 7th note of A. Okay, so for A harmonic minor, we'll sharpen the 7th notes, which results in the G being sharpened. So therefore, this is A minor. Moving on to 7.2, what type of beat is shown in the time signature? So if you have to look at this, this is the same as the 4/4 time, right? So in 4/4 time, what type of beat do we count? We count it in terms of crotchet beats, right? Okay, and 4 means the 4 on top means that there are 4 beats in a bar. And the 4 at the bottom says that they are crochet beats. So what type of beat it is? Crochet beats. Alright. Next, we are asked to name the interval between the two notes. So we are asked what is the interval between these two notes, right? So A to B, they are a second apart. So I first write down a second. So now let's draw out the piano. Okay, and we know that they are a second apart, right? So based on the interval table that we have learned, major and minor. So if it's a major second, there will be 2 semitones apart. If it's a minor second, there will be the notes will be 1 semitone apart. I use ST to represent semitone. So now you have A and B. So it's 1, 2 semitones apart, right? So therefore it's a major second. Right. Now, next, at what tempo should a musician play this piece? So let's take a look at this. So we have this tempo sign here, which is allegretto, which means quite fast. So the tempo should be quite fast. Okay, what is the musical word which describes this, Riven? Okay, so we are stressing on the beat that we usually find it quite weak, right? So if you look at this, we're actually stressing on the half, the half of the first beat. Okay, so if I use a circle that represents the 4 beats in the 4/4 time, then this D here, or this crochet note here, which is in between these two quavers, it's part of the first beat and part of the second beat, right? So usually we don't stress on this. We usually stress at the start of the first beat, then the third beat. Okay, but now we're stressing on the middle of the first beat. Okay, so this is called syncopation. Next, how many phrases are there in this piece? So you know there's 1 phrase, 2 phrases, 3 phrases, 4 phrases here. So the answer is 4. In which phrase does the composer use a sequence? So recall we had a sequence previously. This question here, da 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 da. Then we make it 1 note higher, da 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 da. Then the next bar, da 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 da. So this is a sequence, right? It's quite similar. You just make the notes a bit higher or a bit lower. Okay, so if you look at this, da 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 da. Oh, this is a sequence, right? So it is going 1 note down from F, E, D, F. Then you go 1 note down from F to E. From this F becomes E, this E becomes D, this D becomes C, this F becomes E. So da 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 F E D F E D C E. So it is the third phrase that has the sequence. Then the last phrase there's no sequence. Da 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 da. Okay, so the sequence is in the third phrase. So the answer is third. Okay, next, what does cantable mean? So cantable here, it means in a singing style, okay? Next, what is the loudest dynamic in this piece? So let's take a look. So the dynamics are the loud and soft portions, right? So loud or quiet. So P is quiet, MP is moderately quiet, MF is loud. So the loudest is actually MF. So let's just write here. Okay, then what does this in bar 8 means? So this means to repeat from the beginning. So once you reach here, you repeat again. Okay, then you end off. So it means repeat from the beginning.